In the heart of Detroit, Michigan, where the rust of forgotten factories clung to the skyline like a stubborn fog, lived Emily Carter. At 32, she was a single mother scraping by on minimum wage as a waitress at a dingy diner called Joe's Greasy Spoon. Her days blurred into a monotonous grind, waking before dawn in her cramped one-bedroom apartment in a run-down building on the east side, packing lunch for her 8-year-old daughter Lily, and rushing to catch the bus that smelled of stale cigarettes and despair. Emily's hands were calloused from years of scrubbing tables and balancing trays, her dreams buried under a mountain of unpaid bills and eviction notices. Emily had grown up in foster care after her parents died in a car accident when she was 10. She bounced from home to home in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois, never quite finding a place to belong. At 18, she moved to Detroit chasing a boyfriend who promised a better life, but he left her pregnant and alone. Now, Lily was her world, a bright-eyed girl with curly brown hair and a laugh that could light up the darkest alley. But providing for her meant sacrifices. No vacations, no new clothes, just the bare essentials from thrift stores and food banks. One chilly October morning in 2025, Emily's routine shattered. As she wiped down the counter after the breakfast rush, her phone buzzed, a rare occurrence since she could barely afford the data plan. It was a call from an unknown number with a New York area code. She hesitated, thinking it was a scam, but answered anyway. "Hello, is this Emily Carter?" a polished voice asked. "Yes, who's this?" "My name is Jonathan Hale from Hale & Associates law firm in Manhattan. I'm calling regarding your late aunt, Margaret Hayes." Emily frowned. "I don't have an Aunt Margaret. You must have the wrong number." There was a pause. "Miss Carter, I assure you this is correct. Margaret Hayes was your mother's sister. She passed away last month, and we've been searching for her next of kin. You're her sole heir." Emily's heart skipped. Her mother had mentioned an estranged sister once, but that was ancient history. Heir to what? I don't understand. Ms. Hayes was the founder of Hayes Tech Innovations, a cybersecurity firm. Her estate is valued at over $500 million, including company shares, properties, and patents. The phone slipped from her hand, clattering on the counter. Joe's Diner spun around her. This had to be a joke, but Jonathan Hale wasn't laughing. He emailed her documents proving the lineage, a DNA match from a genealogy site she'd used years ago out of curiosity. That night, Emily sat on her sagging couch, Lily asleep in her lap, staring at the email. The will detailed everything: a penthouse in New York City, a villa in California, bank accounts overflowing. But there was a catch. Margaret had stipulated that Emily must take an active role in the company for at least a year to claim full inheritance, otherwise it would go to charity. Emily's mind raced. Power? She had none. She was just a poor woman from the wrong side of the tracks. But unexpected power? This was it. A ticket out of poverty, a chance to give Lily the life she deserved. Yet doubt gnawed at her. What did she know about tech or boardrooms? She barely finished high school. The next week, Emily boarded a flight to New York, her first ever, paid for by the estate. Lily stayed with a neighbor, Sarah Jenkins, a kind-hearted retiree who lived next door. As the plane descended over the glittering Manhattan skyline, Emily felt like an imposter. The city was a far cry from Detroit's abandoned lots and graffiti-covered walls. At Hale & Associates, Jonathan Hale greeted her in a sleek office overlooking Central Park. He was tall, with silver hair and a suit that cost more than Emily's yearly rent. "Welcome, Miss Carter. This is your new reality." He introduced her to the board at Hayes Tech, headquarters in Silicon Alley. The executives, men like CEO Robert Sinclair, a sharp-tongued Harvard grad, and CFO Victoria Lang, a no-nonsense woman from Boston, eyed her skeptically. "You're the heir?" Robert sneered subtly. "Margaret was a genius. What qualifications do you have?" Emily straightened her thrift store blazer. "I may not have a degree, but I know hard work, and I know people, real people, not just numbers on a screen." The first board meeting was a disaster. They discussed algorithms and data breaches. Emily nodded along, feeling lost. But then, a discussion turned to a new project, a cybersecurity app for everyday users, not just for corporations. "We need to make it accessible," Victoria said, "but our focus groups say it's too complicated." Emily spoke up hesitantly. "Back in Detroit, folks like me don't trust fancy tech. Make it simple, like a phone app that warns you about scams in plain English. Add stories, real ones, from people who've been hacked." The room fell silent. Robert rolled his eyes, but Victoria nodded. "That's not a bad idea." Over the next few weeks, Emily dove in. She moved into the penthouse, a sprawling space with floor-to-ceiling windows and a doorman named Carlos Ramirez, who tipped his hat every morning. Lily joined her, wide-eyed at the luxury. "Mom, is this a castle?" she asked. But power came with pitfalls. Paparazzi hounded her after the news leaked. Detroit waitress inherits tech empire. Tabloids painted her as a Cinderella story, but insiders whispered she was unqualified. Robert plotted to oust her, leaking stories about her past to undermine her. One evening, Emily discovered Margaret's private journal in the penthouse safe. It revealed the truth. Margaret had left home young, building her empire from nothing, just like Emily's potential path. Power isn't given, it's taken through wit and will. Inspired, Emily enrolled in online courses from MIT on cybersecurity. She shadowed engineers, learning about firewalls and encryption. Her unexpected power wasn't just money, it was influence. She pushed for diversity hires, bringing in talent from underserved communities like her own Detroit roots. Then came the crisis. A massive data breach hit Hayes Tech's servers, ransomware from a shadowy hacker group. The board panicked. Stocks plummeted. Robert blamed Emily. "This happened on your watch." But Emily remembered her diner days, dealing with shady customers. She proposed a bold plan: use the company's AI to trace the hackers, but add a human element, crowdsource tips from users via the new app. "That's risky," Victoria warned. "It's unexpected," Emily countered, "and that's our edge." They launched Hayes Guardian, the app Emily envisioned. It went viral overnight. Downloads surged as news spread of the breach and the company's transparent response. Users shared stories, tips flooded in. One led to the hackers, a group in Eastern Europe, exposed by an anonymous tip from a Detroit programmer Emily had hired. The FBI, led by Agent Michael Brooks from the Chicago field office, arrested the perpetrators. Hayes Tech's reputation soared, stocks doubled. Emily was hailed as a hero. Time magazine featured her on the cover, the unexpected CEO. But power corrupted subtly. Old friends from Detroit accused her of forgetting her roots. Sarah Jenkins called. "Emily, Lily misses the old neighborhood." And a romance bloomed with Jonathan Hale, complicating things. He confessed his feelings over dinner at a rooftop restaurant in Brooklyn. "You're not just an heir, Emily. You're a force." Yet threats loomed. Robert, furious at her success, allied with a rival firm to sabotage her. He leaked falsified documents suggesting Emily forged her inheritance claim. Emily fought back, using her newfound skills. She hacked, ethically, with company tools, into Robert's emails, uncovering his plot. In a dramatic board showdown, she presented evidence. Power isn't about betrayal, it's about building something better. Robert was fired. Emily became full CEO. She expanded Hayes Tech to include programs for low-income tech education, naming one after her mother, Anna Carter. Years passed. By 2030, Emily's net worth hit billions. She married Jonathan, and Lily thrived in private school. But Emily never forgot her start. She funded shelters in Detroit, mentored young women like herself. One day, walking through Central Park with Lily, now a teenager, Emily reflected. "Mom, how did you do it?" Lily asked. "Unexpected power comes when you're ready to seize it," Emily replied. "From poor woman to this, it's not luck, it's grit." And so, Emily Carter's story became legend, a viral tale of triumph shared across social media, inspiring millions. From the shadows of poverty to the summit of power, she proved anyone could rise. Emily Carter's alarm blared at 4:30 a.m., a harsh reminder that another day in hell awaited. The apartment on Jefferson Avenue was a relic of better times, with peeling wallpaper and a faucet that dripped like a metronome of defeat. She tiptoed past Lily's sleeping form on the pull-out couch, they shared the bedroom to save on heat, and headed to the kitchenette. Breakfast was oatmeal from the food pantry, flavored with a dash of cinnamon she splurged on last month. At Joe's Greasy Spoon, the regulars were the same. Truckers like Big Tom Wilson from Ohio, nursing coffee and complaining about gas prices. Office workers like Lisa Green from downtown, grabbing to-go orders. Emily's smile was her armor, hiding the ache in her feet and the worry in her heart. Tips were meager, $20 on a good day, but she needed every penny for rent, which was late again. That morning, as she served eggs to a table of construction workers, one of them, Jake Harrison, flirted clumsily. "Jake, you're too pretty for this place, Emily. Ever thought of modeling?" She laughed it off. "With these bags under my eyes? No thanks." But inside, it stung. Dreams of college, of becoming a teacher, had died with Lily's birth. Her ex, Brian Hayes, no relation to Margaret, had vanished to California, sending sporadic child support that barely covered diapers. The call from Jonathan Hale came during her break. She sat in the back alley, smoking a rare cigarette, when the phone rang. The conversation left her reeling. Aunt Margaret? $500 million? It sounded like a fairy tale, but the documents were real. Birth certificates, DNA reports from Ancestry.com. Emily called Sarah Jenkins that night. "Sarah, you won't believe this." Sarah, a 65-year-old widow with a heart of gold, listened. "Honey, if it's true, grab it with both hands. You deserve it." The flight to New York was surreal. Emily wore her best dress, a hand-me-down from Goodwill, feeling like a fraud among business-class passengers. At JFK, a driver named David Patel held a sign with her name. The limo ride to Manhattan was silent awe, skyscrapers piercing the clouds, yellow cabs honking like angry geese. The penthouse on Park Avenue was opulent. Marble floors, a kitchen bigger than her old apartment, a balcony overlooking the city. "This is yours," Jonathan said, handing her keys. Lily arrived a week later, flown first class. "Mommy, look at the big bed," she squealed. But adjustment was hard. Emily missed the familiarity of Detroit. Neighbors in the building, like socialite Amanda Foster, snubbed her. "New money," Amanda whispered at the elevator. At Hayes Tech, the board was a shark tank. Robert Sinclair, with his Yale tie and smug grin, dominated. "We need to focus on enterprise clients," he said at the first meeting. Emily listened, then spoke. "What about small businesses, like the diner I worked at? They get hacked too." Laughter rippled. "Quaint," Robert said. Victoria Lang, however, pulled her aside. "Ignore him. Margaret saw potential in the little guy." Emily started small, attending meetings, asking questions. She met engineers like Kevin Nguyen, a young genius from San Francisco who explained coding in simple terms. Think of it as a recipe. Exploring the penthouse, Emily found Margaret's study, books on tech, photos of a younger Margaret with tech moguls like Elon Musk. The journal was hidden in a drawer, pages of struggles from poverty in Boston to building Hayes Tech. "I left my family to escape the cycle, but I regret not reaching out. If you're reading this, niece, use the power wisely." Tears flowed. Emily enrolled in courses, studying nights while Lily did homework. Social life emerged. Jonathan invited her to dinner at Lee Bernardine. "You're adapting remarkably well," he said, his blue eyes warm. Blushing, Emily shared her story. "From waitress to this, it's overwhelming." "You're more than your past," he replied. Romance sparked, but Emily guarded her heart. The ransomware hit like a storm. Screens froze, data encrypted. "Demand $10 million in Bitcoin," the message read. Panic ensued. Robert accused, "Your accessible app opened vulnerabilities." Emily stayed calm. "Let's use it to fight back." They launched Hayes Guardian Beta, marketing via social media, Twitter, Instagram. Emily's idea. "Share your hack stories," the campaign said. It exploded. Influencers like Mia Rodriguez from Los Angeles promoted it. Downloads hit 1 million in days. A tip came from Detroit. "I saw suspicious activity on a forum," wrote Alex Thompson, a hacker turned good Emily hired. Tracing led to the culprits. Agent Michael Brooks coordinated. Impressive work, Miss Carter. Post-crisis, stocks rose. Emily's approval soared. Robert's plot unfolded. Leaked emails showed him colluding with Technova's CEO, Gregory Ford. Emily, with Kevin's help, gathered proof. At the board meeting in the glass-walled conference room, she presented. "Robert, you're fired," she said, voice steady. Applause followed. Victoria became her ally. Emily expanded. Offices in Detroit, scholarships for women in tech named after Anna. Jonathan proposed on the balcony, rings sparkling. "Will you?" "Yes," Emily whispered. They married in Central Park, Lily as flower girl. By 2030, Hayes Tech was a giant. Emily advocated for policies in Washington, D.C., meeting Senator Elizabeth Warren. Wow, what a crazy story, right? Thanks for watching all the way through. If you liked it, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Catch you guys soon.